Ziggy Marley feels less like entering a celebrity mansion and more like stepping into a living museum of music, culture, and family legacy. The atmosphere is relaxed, warm, and filled with laughter as the tour begins. There's an immediate sense that this is not just a house, it's a place where history breathes through every wall. As the host from Entertainment Tonight arrives, Ziggy greets them with an easy smile, joking about how the house has been specially prepared for the visit. Normally, he says, the tables would be covered in food, a reflection of the family's love for gathering and sharing meals. Today, however, everything is neat, cleaned up just for the cameras, though the welcoming vibe remains unchanged. The home itself is impressive, a sprawling 6-bedroom, 7-bath estate stretching across nearly 10,000 square feet. But what makes it truly special isn't the size or luxury features like the state-of-the-art theater, the backyard soccer field, or the basketball court. It's the energy inside. Good vibes seem to flow naturally through every room, something that feels deeply connected to Ziggy's upbringing and the spirit of his legendary father, Bob Marley. As you walk through the hallways, you're surrounded by photographs, intimate family moments frozen in time. For Ziggy, these are just memories of childhood and family life, but for the rest of the world, they are pieces of history. Stopping at one wall, Ziggy points out a photo from his father's birthday. He laughs as he recalls how rare it was for their family to celebrate birthdays in a traditional way. This particular moment was special. His mother decided to organize something meaningful, bringing everyone together. In the picture, Ziggy is seen casually pouring drinks, just a son enjoying time with his father. Moments like these reveal a different side of Bob Marley, not the global icon, but the father, the human being. Another photo sparks a story about the FIFA World Cup in South Africa. Ziggy's eyes light up as he remembers traveling through the country on motorcycles, riding Ducatis with friends and family. It wasn't just a trip, it was a deeply emotional experience. The 2010 World Cup was the first ever held on African soil, and for Ziggy, it felt like something his father would have cherished. He recalls thinking, "Our father would have loved this. He would have been here." That connection to Africa, after all, was central to Bob Marley's identity and dreams. Moving along, Ziggy points to another photo, this one from his high school days. It shows him with his soccer team, proudly celebrating one of their championships. He shares how they won 3 titles together and how he still keeps in touch with many of those teammates. The pride in his voice is clear. Despite growing up in the shadow of a global superstar, Ziggy's life was filled with normal experiences. School, sports, friendships, all of which shaped who he is today. One particularly striking image shows Ziggy alongside his brother Stephen Marley holding a rifle during a trip with their father. He laughs as he admits he doesn't quite remember where the rifle came from, but the memory itself remains vivid. It was during a journey to Zimbabwe, a trip that symbolized Bob Marley's lifelong dream of reconnecting with Africa. That dream wasn't just his, it became part of his children's lives as well. Soccer, or football as it's known globally, was another passion that deeply connected father and son. Ziggy recalls playing with Bob Marley in the yard, describing how competitive his father was. There was no going easy, no special treatment, just pure love for the game. Bob Marley, he explains, could have easily been a professional footballer. He surrounded himself with some of the best players in Jamaica and lived and breathed the sport. Another cherished family photo shows the entire Marley clan dressed up, possibly heading to the airport. Ziggy points out his mother, his father, his siblings, and even a baby carriage in the frame. These images capture a simpler time, before global fame reached its peak, when life revolved around family and shared moments. As the tour continues, the conversation shifts to Ziggy's music. His 9th studio album, Brightside, marks a deeply personal chapter in his career. For the first time, he wrote and performed a song directly about his father, titled Many More for Bob. Released on Bob Marley's birthday, the song reflects not just admiration, but emotional connection. Ziggy explains that he wanted to go beyond the legend and connect with his father's humanity. The struggles, the challenges, the emotions that people often overlook. He speaks candidly about the pressure of being Bob Marley's son. Many fans naturally compare the two, sometimes expecting Ziggy to replicate his father's greatness. But Ziggy approaches it differently. He sees himself as part of the same spiritual and musical legacy, not a copy of it. His mission is to stay true to himself while carrying forward the values his father stood for. Music with meaning, messages that uplift humanity, and authenticity above all else. This philosophy is evident as the tour moves into a room filled with awards. Tucked away almost modestly, Ziggy's collection includes multiple Grammy Awards and even an Emmy. He jokes about how they're hidden away, but it's clear he takes pride in them, especially those that fall outside traditional categories. One award for a children's album stands out to him, representing his desire to explore different creative paths. Another highlight is his involvement in the soundtrack for the One Love movie, a project closely tied to his father's legacy. The conversation naturally turns to the possibility of an extended version of the Bob Marley biopic. Ziggy expresses his desire to see more of his father's story told, hinting that there's so much footage and history that didn't make it into the final cut. He's actively encouraging studios to revisit the material and share more with the world. Beyond music, Ziggy is also an author. His children's book, True to Myself, reflects the same themes that define his life: authenticity, self-expression, and staying grounded. At the same time, he's preparing for his summer tour, set to kick off on June 19th. Despite his busy schedule, he remains deeply connected to his home life. One of the most fascinating parts of the house is the vinyl pressing area. Ziggy explains his passion for creating music, specifically for vinyl, emphasizing quality over quantity. His latest record features only 8 songs, a deliberate choice to maintain high sound fidelity. He even plans to set up a pressing plant at home, teaching his children the craft so they can understand music production from the ground up. The kitchen, however, is where the heart of the home truly lies. Ziggy describes it as the family room, the place where everyone gathers to cook, talk, and spend time together. He shares his love for healthy eating, mentioning dishes like quinoa, fish, and eggs. It's a simple lifestyle rooted in balance and well-being, reflecting his Jamaican heritage. Nearby, a cozy screening room replaces what used to be a recording studio. Though he no longer uses the space for music, Ziggy enjoys watching movies there with his family. It's another example of how the house evolves with their needs, always centered around togetherness. Stepping outside, the backyard opens up into a lively space filled with activity. The soccer field and basketball court are not just for show. They're used regularly, often turning into competitive arenas. Ziggy laughs as he describes intense games with his children, who constantly try to outplay him. But he insists he still holds his own, proving that his competitive spirit hasn't faded. As the tour comes to an end, there's a sense of completeness. This isn't just a celebrity home filled with luxury features. It's a place where legacy, family, and purpose come together. Ziggy Marley has built a life that honors his father, Bob Marley, while staying true to his own identity. The house stands as a reflection of that balance, a space where history is preserved, creativity thrives, and family remains at the center of everything. And as the cameras from Entertainment Tonight wrap up their visit, one thing is clear: the Marley legacy isn't just alive, it's evolving, growing, and continuing to inspire the world in new and meaningful ways.
Bob and